Let's get in Samit Chavan to chat technicals on the show. And Samit, owing to what's going on in Asia, the Nifty is currently at 88.79 and the Bank Nifty futures also looking weak. Comment on these two indices.
Good morning, Aban. We saw a spectacular rally from the lower levels of 85.50, 85.60. However, if we look at the daily chart structure, we have been moving within a range of 450 to 500 points. Price-wise, if we look at the pattern, then we are observing a megaphone pattern, and the higher end comes around 89.50 to 89.80. So we have been maintaining our view that once Nifty reaches this strong resistance zone of 89.50, 89.80, one should lighten up their long positions. So in line with our view, since last 3 days we have been witnessing some subdued movement, and today we are seeing some weakness in market. If we look at the hourly chart structure, Nifty has confirmed its lower top lower bottom formation, which is a sign of weakness. It's not a major trend reversal, but going forward, at least for next couple of days, we might see some weakness in the index. Now on the higher side, 89.20, 89.40 has become a resistance, so any bounce is likely to get sold into. We don't expect any major downside as such, but 8800 to 8780 are likely to be tested. As far as banking index is concerned, clearly the overall banking index is in strong pressure today. We are seeing selling pressure in most of the private banking counters. We believe that the banking index might slip towards 20,000, 19,900, which is a strong support zone. Overall, we expect this major indices to remain within a broad range, wherein the range could be at least 2–2.5%.
Okay, that's the view coming in on the index right now, but I want to talk about some individual stocks as well. Of course, Yes Bank is a big casualty right now, but there's also other stocks from the broader end of the market that are looking rather weak. In fact, Parsvanath and Puravankara are currently the top drags on the Nifty 500 as we speak. SAIL is under pressure on account of the earnings reaction. You've got something like Reddington, which is quoting at about 113. Punj Lloyd, West Coast Paper, Edelweiss Financial as well is currently in the red. Come in then on some of the banking names in today's session, Samit. And are you shorting these candidates?
See, as far as Yes Bank is concerned, since last 3 days we have seen a good amount of correction in the stock from the levels of 1430, 1450. Technically speaking, we were observing a strong resistance around 1450, which is the 127% price extension of previous up move. Now, if we look at the daily chart, on the higher side, 1300, 1320 seems to be a strong resistance. So, in case of this bounce back, if Yes Bank comes around 1300, 1320, then probably that could be a very good shorting opportunity. And going forward, we expect this stock to remain under pressure. 1220, 1200, these are the next possible levels which we are likely to be seen in next probably 3 to 4 days.
A quick call on Hero MotoCorp.
See, we have seen a spectacular rally in Hero MotoCorp. However, 3700, 3750 seems to be a very strong resistance. We don't expect any major downside at surge in the near term. We expect this stock to oscillate within a range of 200, 250 points, wherein 3700, 3750 would act as a resistance, and lower side we would see buying emerging once this stock reaches 3500, 3480 levels.
Okay, time to focus then to a story that every stakeholder in the Indian economy obsesses over. We've got a policy news break. That's the fiscal deficit. The NK Singh-led panel will be reviewing the FRBM Act, and that's soon going to be ready with its recommendations on the fiscal deficit. Let's get in Ruchi Bhatia, who joins in from New Delhi, live with all the exclusive details. And Ruchi, tell us, which way is the panel likely to tilt?
So what we're given to understand at this point of time is that our Finance Minister Arun Jaitley had in the last budget put in place an FRBM committee to examine the need and feasibility of having a fiscal deficit range in place of a particular target. Now what we're given to understand at this point of time is that at this point of time, after meeting a whole host of stakeholders, which includes states, various rating agencies, and other participants were given to understand that this FRBM panel at this point of time is tilting towards having a fixed fiscal deficit target rather than a range. What we're given to understand is that what they believe at this point of time is that a whole host of countries that they have examined and they have reviewed all have a particular target instead of a range, and a range is going to be something that is going to be very wide, and they feel that this may lead to more bloating of the fiscal deficit target than than states and the center keeping it in within the range.
What exactly is the rationale for sticking to a number despite so much talk about a range?
So what we're given to understand is that at this point of time is that, initially there was an expectation that at a time when the government wants to push public expenditure, a range will give them some sort of flexibility. But after speaking to states, after consulting all stakeholders, at this point of time, the FRBM committee believes that a range-bound fiscal deficit target may risk the bloating of states' debt. They believe they've also spoken to rating agencies. Remember, S&P met officials from S&P, in fact, met the FRBM panel 2 weeks back, and even the rating agencies have expressed their fear of the fiscal deficit target bloating because of having a range. In fact, the FRBM panel believes that there could be a loss of credibility if they go ahead and have a range, and if the states and the center combined, as a combined entity, if the fiscal deficit bloats, that is going to be something that will do more harm to India than good.
So, Ruchi, highlight for us finally when this decision could be likely.
So we give it to understand that some meetings are still left because they've already met S&P on the 26th of this month. The FRBM panel is likely to meet other rating agencies like Moody's and the others as well. We're given to understand that it is only after a couple of meetings are left. After these meetings get over, a combined perspective will be taken at a national debt perspective, not just the center or state. While the final decision is yet to be made, they're supposed to submit their report by the 31st of October. But at this point of time, as to how things stand at this particular moment, we're given to understand that they are tilting in favor of a range. They're tilting in favor of a fixed target instead of a range. And however, things will be clear only once all meetings are over and only when they submit their final report to the finance minister.
Ruchi, many thanks for joining in and giving us all those exclusive details. So clearly sources are indicating now that the FRBM panel is tilting towards having a fixed fiscal deficit target rather than going for a range, and this definitely is a topic, and a very contentious one at that a lot of the stakeholders in the Indian economy have been focusing on. Well, let's move away from that then to a corporate voice and focus in on Swilect Energy. You had the numbers coming in with the profits down about 25%, the total income at 35 crore rupees. We've got Mr. R. Chalapan is the Managing Director of Swilect Energy now with us on the show. Thanks for joining in. I just want to focus in on what really led to this kind of a disappointing earnings, particularly for your profit growth down 25%. Can we see an improvement in the coming quarters?
Yeah, that's right. See, if you are comparing on a quarter-on-quarter basis, last quarter results were boosted by our FMP realization.
Yeah, even on a year-on-year basis, we've seen a downtick.
Yeah, you are comparing quarter one of
yes,
2015 to this. So last quarter, the previous year quarter, we had the FMPs. We have quite a bit of investments, more than 320 crores, of which a sizable amount was in FMPs, and FMPs got matured during the month of April, and the first quarter results were boosted by the FMP realization. Otherwise, if you look at the earnings of quarter 2, quarter 3 and quarter 4, they are almost in line with what we have reported and fairly okay. And normally what happens is the turnover for solar industry picks up from the second quarter onwards. That's the practice of the industry because more spending is aimed for September closure or March closure. Some of the government budgets and government projects, even corporate, they all look at closing their projects by September. So we have a handful of orders in this quarter, but the previous quarter was, short of orders. That's another reason as well.
And now operationally also it's been weak for you. Can you just tell us when can we see a reversal in your margin picture and your EBITDA performance, and what will that be led by?
As I told you, the operational income is linked to the order book and order execution. So the order execution wise, if you look at last quarter, the only major project we did was a 1 megawatt rooftop project for IOCL Baroni refinery. The others were all small rooftops. But in this quarter and next quarter, we have handful of orders and a lot of megawatts will be implemented. So the results of next coming quarters will be fairly okay, fairly good.
Okay, good to know. Now, after winning that 10 megawatt power project in Karnataka a few months ago, what have been the recent order wins?
We have an order win from Milky Mist, that's a company in South, going for a multi-megawatt project. And also we are having quite a good number of rooftop projects and many others following now.
Okay, and so what does the current order book stand at, and where do you see it by the end of the year?
Right now we have, in our module facility, we have order book of more than 20 megawatt. And the project team has order book of more than 25 megawatt. So coming quarter should be fairly good.
Fine. All right. Let you go on that note, Mr. Chalapan. Thanks very much for taking time out and giving us a glimpse of the earnings as well as the trajectory ahead. So very confident management of Swelect Energy, saying that operationally things will improve come next quarter. Moving on then, and can't help but focus on the telecom space, and after facing flack from incumbent operators, telecom regulator TRAI now wants to do some damage control. The regulator, as we told you yesterday, has called for a meeting between the big three GSM operators as well as Mukesh Ambani's Reliance Jio in order to try and diffuse the tension. Let's get in Gauri Dwivedi for more details. And Gauri, will this meeting lead to a somewhat palatable solution or a legal recourse, which perhaps is inevitable?
Avan, I think legal recourse because, if TRAI could sort this at its level, though it is a custodian of ensuring that, license norms are met, but if TRAI could sort this, maybe tensions would not have risen to the level that they have. Nevertheless, TRAI is definitely, waking up to the fact that it needs to find some sort of a solution to the growing mess, which is why the meeting is taking place. In fact, it starts in about an hour and...
Speaking of telecom, it looks like we've got Gauri on a pretty bad line. Should perhaps just reconnect with her. Gauri, didn't catch the last part, so just go ahead about what exactly you were talking about. A legal recourse inevitable.
Legal recourse inevitable, in fact, Avan, because, if TRAI could stop this at its end, it probably would have done so by now, because, tensions have risen to such an extent where the regulator may not be able to find some sort of a palatable solution that would be acceptable to both the camps. Nevertheless, the idea is to get both the GSM camps as well as Reliance Jio on the table to find out what is the reason for such divergent views on POI. Remains to be seen whether TRAI will follow this up with more meetings or in the end, may just, want a legal order to sort this out. Remains to be seen. But nevertheless, a very crucial meeting, the very first time that, a regulator has taken cognizance of the issue and the extent of the divergent views that exist on this particular matter.
Okay, many thanks, Gauri, for giving us all of those details. So perhaps that is definitely going to be inevitable. We will be watching out for that meet that's going to take place shortly. Bharti Airtel, Vodafone Idea, and of course Reliance Jio will be joining into that meet. And remember, the GSM stance is that there is no such obligation interconnection, and Jio traffic has been asymmetric for interconnection. It's no real direction today for any of the telecom stocks. They're looking quiet with a little bit of a negative bias in tandem with the rest of the market. But we'll take a quick break right here on the show. Stay with us. We'll be focusing on the hot stock of the day and get you some top technical calls. back with hot stocks to some top ideas. And Samit, what's on the radar?
See, Aman, we expect stock-specific action to continue. We have one call on the long side, that would be on NMDC. We have been upbeat on this stock since last couple of weeks. After a consolidation of nearly 2 weeks, this stock gave a breakout during the penultimate session. Now, if we look at the daily chart structure, the chart structure is quite encouraging. So, going forward with a 2 to 3 weeks view, we expect this stock to move towards 120, 122, which would be our target, and it can be bought on any dip. Stop loss would be around 106. Our short call would be on ITC. Since last 3-4 days, we have been witnessing this stock moving in a very narrow range, and on the higher side, 264, 265 seems to be a very strong resistance. So today we are seeing the first sign of weakness. We don't expect major downside, but yes, 250 to 253 is quite possible in next probably 3 to 4 days. So that could be a shorting candidate with a stop loss of 266.
Okay, thanks for that, Samit. Meantime, Yes Bank QIP has hit a roadblock deferring that share sale. Let's get in Poonam. And Poonam, what has caused all the fiasco?
Well, if you look at the intraday stock price, the sharp dip in the stock price itself states that it was a complete question of deferment, and what my sources are stating is that the deferment in fact has come on account of mispricing of the